Hi everyone. Those of you that were paying attention to the ABS sensor replacement video that I posted a few weeks back, you will have noticed that the car stalled when I first started it after doing the work. I was concerned at the time that it stalled. It had done it a few times when starting from cold. So you start the car, it fired up, and then immediately it stalled. Second time you started it, it then ran fine. Did a little bit of search on some of the forums and blogs, and I very quickly discovered that that may be a symptom of back pressure in the exhaust system, or the from the particulate filter being clogged, or back pressure, or the EGR, the exhaust gas recycling valve, potentially being clogged or stuck. So I put well, I ignored it for 3 weeks, and we drove 400 miles, a long way down to the West Country, and the problem went away, which was nice. But yesterday I did the basic service items, so oil and oil filter change and so forth, and I reset the service counter because it needed doing. What I also did was looked at all the codes, and what I discovered on there were two codes that relate to the problem. The first was 4687, so that's listed as DDE, or Direct Diesel Electronics Throttle Valve, which when you search forums you find might be connected with the exhaust gas recycling valve. The other one was 480A, which is DDE, again, Direct Diesel Electronics, particulate filter system, the DPF. So the particulate filter is in the exhaust system. It burns off any sooty bits that are still in the exhaust after they've come out of the engine, but it only works when it's really hot. So it stores them up until it's really hot, and then it burns them. If you do lots of really short journeys, then it doesn't work very well and gets clogged up. Today's mission is to have a look at the EGR, the exhaust gas recycling valve. I want to see if that's clogged, because that will tell me whether it's the cause of the first code. Obviously I'm going to re-look at the ECU. I'll check the codes again once I've been running it for a while, but for today I just want to check the EGR. So this video is about how you get to the EGR and what it looks like. But let's have a go. Now, there we go. Let's tilt you down. There's the top of the engine. Saving a bit of time, I've already undone these bolts. Have a look at the air filter video if you want to see me undo that. And under here we have this unit here. Now this is this contains the valve, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it's all coming back to me. I think there might be a valve inside here that opens and lets this out. It might be that this vacuum controls it. So I'm going to take the inlet manifold off with this. I don't think I can. Well, I can try and get to these bolts. Have a go, but I'm not sure I'll have any luck. I'll try, I suppose. Worst case, I'll take the inlet manifold off. Okay, the inlet manifold needs to come off, which I can do. I've done it before. The cover behind needs to come off as well. I've loosened that. That can't come out, nor can the inlet manifold until this stabling bar comes out. The stabling bar has 4 bolts on it. There's 2 at this end underneath the positive terminal. So be very careful. There's a hole underneath there, so metal can go up inside. That would short out the battery and cause, certainly could cause a significant discharge, potentially harm to the battery. So if you're going to loosen these bolts, ideally you shut the battery off, disconnect it in the boot of the car. You can obviously be very careful here, as I will be, and keep it connected, but that's your call. As with all these things, liability sits with you, not me. So I'm going to get this bar off now, and we'll go from there. Let's just move you out of the way. There we go. There's some ones here. There. Still over there. Let's take this off. Bolts in it. now we get to see the manifold properly. Now there are 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts on there, and there's also a wiring loom going across it, so that needs to be carefully removed. If I remember rightly, you actually have to disconnect all of these connections for this to work. Maybe it's good practice to disconnect the ECU anyway, otherwise it might flag up some fault codes. I'm not worried, I've got the computer, I can deal with it if need be. Guess we'll find out. Let's just ease those off. There's some very small Torx bits there. I'll go and get my Torx drivers. Take those. Right, so Torx, small Torx bit. You can use a standard socket on these, they're not very tight, you could get away with it. I probably did last time. They're not damaged, so I must have got away with it. But got the right tool now, so I might as well use it. What I don't have is any new seals for this. Inlet manifolds normally have seals around each inlet point. I'm relying on these being reusable, which isn't particularly clever. Right. Now, what I can also see is there are fixings down each of these. And there's another one right off the end. There's also a connector on the end as well. Rather difficult to get at. These are not 10s. 11. These are going to be more of a pain because they're nuts rather than bolts, so I've got to recover these. Which means probably keeping them on the head and putting a finger under them like that to retrieve them. Which I've done. Right, just getting the last one of these out. They are a bit of a fiddle, especially the one under the. There's a bridge across over here that's that means you can't get your finger down there, so you're going to have to push the nut off the back and then try and pull it up the hole. Which is a bind. Little screwdriver is quite useful for getting them out. There we go. So that's one of those. Something's still holding it. Still holding it. They're all gone. Taking the end one off. To get this electric connection off. I'm not sure how. And just push the clip in towards the car at the back by the cables, and it should slide up. It's just a 2-wire connection there. What else we got? Ah, the dipstick is fixed on. There's a bolt there, that's a hex bolt onto that, so I need to do that. Then I need to be very careful not to push the dipstick. It might loosen at the bottom. This now looks to be loose as well. The vacuum tube needs to come off here. There it is, that goes easy. Vacuum tubes obviously aren't clamped on because they're sucking all the time. Don't need to. This needs to be spread to come off. Oh, it is loose. It's interesting. Thought it was supposed to be welded on there, didn't I? Shows how much I know. Let's see if it'll slide off there altogether. Yeah, there we go. That's good. I'll take it off completely in a minute. That means that can pull away from there. This can pull away from here. Touching. Oops. Okay. There's a cable here. So I just pop this up here. Easy. These things are all, they're quite fragile, a bit gentle with them and work out how they come off. Not too much force on them, nothing should break. Now we're struggling. Oh, there's another connector down here. Of course there is. There would be one there. Hope you're keeping track of all these. Oh, I remember this one. This is for the swirl flaps. I took the swirl flaps out at the same time. It's got a push button underneath. Push it underneath, slide it backwards, it'll come off. Yeah, if you haven't taken the swirl flaps out, best do it. If it's one of these older 2-litre diesels, the M47 engine, swirl flaps have a habit of falling to bits. The cable on the back there was just hooked into a grommet. I'm just taking that off. Yeah, the swirl flaps fall to bits and then fall into the engine and destroy the engine for you. Which isn't very helpful. Oh, yes. Another connection underneath to push the button in and slide it down. There we go. Now, just a couple of things. That there is important, as is this here. They are missing from there, and they're missing from there. You're going to have to make sure those are definitely in there when it all goes back together, and that they definitely don't fall down inlet ports. Look at these inlet ports, you can see they're pretty oily and they're pretty ergy. Oh, that's rather handy. Got a 1/4 inch set, you can actually get into there. Couldn't do it when it was on the car, that'd have been too easy. I guess the seal wasn't sealing as well as it might. Wow, okay, so that's obviously the EGR, exhaust gas recycling valve, and I'm assuming that that should pull down or push out of there, I guess. But no, the vacuum will suck and it would pull it away from there. Blunt-ended tool. Doesn't look like it wants to move. I don't know how much force you need to move that, but that ain't moving. So, move you to a new position. Watch the show. EGR. Hyper clean degreaser, engine degreaser. This is from Comma. Other brands are available. Just going to spray a bit on here. Paintbrush. Just work it in a bit. Might take a while. I'll come back in a while. Just taking a screwdriver to this. I don't recommend poking things with screwdrivers particularly, but I just wanted to see how much build-up there was, and you can see there's a lot in here. It's nasty. So I'm going to very carefully just work my way over the surfaces of this. I guess a nice soft wire brush might be the answer to this. Oh no, yeah, sort of chipping off. It's like going to the hygienist at the dentist, picking away at your teeth. You've got to do it in a way that doesn't damage anything, but actually gets the stuff off. Now obviously the degreaser will soak into it, it'll help loosen it. You can then work very gently at it to clear it away, flush it away with more degreaser until the thing is absolutely clear. What I'm also thinking is that if this is caked in it like this, then the inlet manifold is also going to be caked in it. So I'm going to be looking at that and seeing if I need to clear, decoke the inlet manifold, get rid of the erg that's in there. I do seem to remember clearing as much as I could out of it when I had it off last time. That really is nasty. Ew. Yeah, you can start to see it's coming back. The shiny bits in there where there weren't before. So it's going to take a while. I'll carry on working on this and we'll cut out the video between. As with so many of the things I do, filthy. I would suggest gloves when working with degreaser. I didn't. I'm very dirty as a result. It's probably not very good for me. You can do better. Just make sure that that's clear around the entry point for that shaft. Still a bit of berg on the brass bush. Wonder whether the thing has actually sort of sealed itself closed. Amazing. Amazing. Anyway, how to test the theory? Pop it on the deck. Let's get something that's not going to harm it. We can go down inside, such as a socket. Yeah. Right, let's get you in a position to see. If I lean on this, you can see it moving. That is what is supposed to happen when the vacuum pump opens it. But what I'm going to do is just put a bit of this around the end here. Seized, and now unseized it. Very exciting. Well, there we go. One unseized and cleaned EGR. I think the reversal process will be the same as the install process will be the same as the taking apart process. So I'll crack on with that once I've cleaned the manifold up. Right, so I've done some cleaning work on the head. Now I'm going to put this back together. Oops. Like that. Right, that's that back together. Now, find your place over here. You should be able to put this. Should be able to use where it should be. It appears to be. Everything to line line up as it should. And then we back on to there. That is where it should be. I need to get this clamp. It's rather interesting, it is opened completely now, so I can actually slide this. Like that. It's ready to go. Just check all these wires are out the way. Probably the easiest way is to plug them in. And at the back, at the back underneath, slides up. One on this side, slides across. There's a vacuum pipe, which I'm going to do now before I forget. There it is. It's on there. This one here that went around here, which I'm going to do. Oh, I'd lost a clip for it there. I wonder where that went. It's a degreased clip. It's not particularly good condition, but we'll pop it back on anyway. There we go. That goes on there. Before I do those two, I'll tighten everything up. What I'm doing is putting the nut in the socket and then I'm holding it in with the edge of my finger while I go down inside the hole to stop it falling out of the socket. Once it's on the top of the thread, then I can let go with the finger and wind it on. The amazing stainless steel bolt for the dipstick. Right, saved you the painter forever. Got a bit of editing, there we go, that's on. Right over there, we've got so inlet's on. We've got this valve to do, we've got this end to do, we've got the electrics to do. Let's get the electrics on. There they are. There's a little clip there that goes under there. These all just push on like that. There's some little screws. Yeah. And yeah. The Torx head. Not particularly tight. Nice. Let's get this baby done up. Screwdriver immersed in a bucket of filth. I was using it to scrape the inlet manifold. actually has a nut on it. It'll do. This just squeezes in like that. Clips in, so dead easy. That one I loosened, but I've retightened. Everything else is just covers, I think. I'll put that torsion bar back on. Working on a principle here. I could undo it with this, so I'm doing it back under this. Okay. Stop. Sounds and looks pretty good to me. No lights on the dashboard, so all good news there. Last part of the job. I'll put these covers back on. Can't put this cover on with the bar in the way. So let's just do that. As usual, saving you the pain with a bit of YouTube magic. Took the bar off, put the cover underneath, put the bar back on again. But that's why we watch YouTube. Learn from other people's mistakes. Just going to put this back on. Here. There we go. All done. Job finished. It's lunchtime. Job's done. I'm going in for lunch. We know it worked. It's fantastic. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see any more crazy videos of me doing crazy things that garages otherwise do and might save you money. Thanks.